My name's Jason from Metra Electronics. I'm going to be talking to you today about the Saddle Tramp line. We've got a bunch of new harnesses coming out this year, and I'd like to just take a few minutes to kind of give you a rundown of what these harnesses can do for you when you're working on motorcycles. The first one that I want to talk about and show you, what we're working on right now is a 2015 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. And this particular bike obviously has a factory radio. It's got some factory speakers up here in the front, but it doesn't have any speakers in the rear. From factory, Harley is pre-wired for rear speakers, but it doesn't give you that backbone harness to take you from the front of the bike down to the back of the bike or underneath the seat. So one of the first harnesses that we decided to make was Harley-Davidson backbone harness. So you can take the BC-9720 and it's pinned to match factory polarity, and you can plug it in. I've already run it down the backbone of the motorcycle. You are going to have to remove the gas tank, and it dumps the other end of the connector out underneath the seat. We've got some other harnesses that I'll show you in a minute that allow you to split that signal off underneath the seat to feed stuff like bag lids or some of the tour pack lids that we offer. So we'll show you those a little bit later. The next one I want to show you is BC-9722, and this is a great option for extending the front wires, the front speaker wires, down to lower fairing speaker pods like on your crash bars. And this is also another item that we offer in the Saddle Tramp line. So this, again, is just plug and play. It's color coded, white, black. So this would be the left-hand side. So up here, just unplug this harness, plug our T harness in, and now you can run this speaker wire down to your crash bar location, wire up a set of speakers, and get some additional front audio. So we have left and right options for those. Great little option for tapping into speaker signal. That's the BC-9722. Now, one of the other harnesses that we're really excited about is our BC-9715. What this harness is going to do is going to give a lot of flexibility to the installer. So this harness is going to be used when you want to retain your factory radio. And what we're going to start off with is we have an input and output harness, so we can disconnect the factory radio, plug our aftermarket BC-9715 into the vehicle's wiring harness, and then plug the other end into our factory radio. And what this is going to do for us is we're basically splitting the audio out of the radio and then out to the speakers. We're splitting it into two. We're splitting it into an input side and an output side. And the sole purpose of this is to add aftermarket amplifiers. And we've made it incredibly easy for you to work with multiple amplifier manufacturers. On the input side of this harness, we're providing pre-terminated wires. And we are including the Molex 4-pin connectors that you commonly see on aftermarket amplifiers. So depending on your polarity of the aftermarket amplifier that you're choosing, you can pin for your amplifier as you see fit. Gives you a lot of flexibility, gives you a lot of options. If you don't have any, if it's a hardwire input, you just cut these off, strip them in, slide them into your input side of the amplifier. So very easy. We also offer in this BC-9715 kit RCAs. So you can take your Molex connector, you can pin your speaker leads to match our RCAs, and now you have an RCA input into any aftermarket amplifier. So it kind of makes it's easy, it's more universal. and it gives the installer a lot of installation options. Let's say you want to add even more flexibility to the motorcycle, options to your customer. We have pre-wired into our BC-9715 an input harness for the AX DSP line. This is the 20-pin plug that you get with the AX DSP. On this particular piece, we've got the overmolded grommet for the WR version, the water-resistant version of our AX DSP. So, and this is, you would use this harness or this DSP in place of your other input wires. So it really comes down to one or the other. We tried to give you as much choice and flexibility as possible. So we've got the two overmolded grommets into place. We plug our DSP board in. Slide it into our water resistant case and snap it in. Now we've got a full 31 band graphic equalization, all the standard features that you would find in the DSP. You set up and control it via Bluetooth. You can always check the Access website or the Saddle Tramp website for more details. But now, again, we have our output side of our DSP, which goes into the input side of your aftermarket amplifier. And again, we're providing you with all of the Molex connectors you need to pin it to match your amplifier's input. So makes it real easy, makes it real simple. And of course, the kit obviously includes Molex to RCA if you need to get that into your amplifier as well. So again, a lot of different options. We tried to make everything as easy and as flexible as possible for you. So now we're going to be talking about the output side of the harness of the BC-9715. We've already gone over all the input options, the different ways that you can use it. So now we're going to talk a little bit about output. In the BC series, in the BC line, anytime we're going to be dealing with this type of installation, whether it's a DSP, adding an amplifier, we're going to have designated colors for input and designated color for output. Input is going to be the neutral or clear. Output is going to be black. And they're both the 4-pin Molex. So on the output side, again, because of variations of aftermarket amplifiers, we're providing this to you unpinned. So you can either go cut these ends off, go directly to your amplifier, or if your amplifier has a Molex plug, you can pin it and plug it right into the aftermarket amp. Now you'll notice that we have this broken up here. We have everything labeled with heat shrinks. So this is amplifier output, rear speakers, amplifier output, front speakers. So even though this bike did not come with a pair of front speakers, because we have our BC-9720 backbone harness plugged into the factory rear speakers, all we have to do is throw a pair of bag lids in there with a pair of speakers and we have audio. Now, one of the other harnesses that we are providing is for adding an amplifier to the back of the motorcycle. Sometimes, usually, the amplifiers are installed underneath the radio using our BC-Amp04, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. But every once in a while, we need to have an additional amplifier in the back, whether it's in the tour pack or maybe the saddlebag. And getting an input signal back there can be difficult sometimes. So we have provided with the BC-9715 an additional harness that will allow you to add amplifier into the bag lid or the tour pack using the BC-9720. So this is real easy. Again, you come to your input side. Now, whether it's an input from the output side of the DSP or directly from the radio, either one will work. You can, because we have the Molex here, Molex plugs, I can pin them accordingly. And now I've got the connector that will plug directly into our BC-9720. This will carry the input signal back to underneath the seat, and then we have additional harnessing that you can use to Y split that signal off and drop your amplifier in the back. You have your input. So again, try to be as universal as possible. Overall, a very flexible harness, and it's going to be huge value in the bay. So we'll go through, we'll show you some other stuff that we've got going on. I'm going to drop in the BC-Amp04 into the location that it's designed to go, and we'll show you that in just a second. So here I've got in my hand is our BC-Amp04. This is for the 2014 and up road glides, and the purpose of the location, mounting location of this amplifier bracket and amp is right underneath the factory radio. So we'll remove that factory radio. We have our amp mounted to the board. It's got that crinkle coated texture on it. And I obviously still have to wire the amplifier up, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys how this thing slid in. So it's going to take some work getting it in there. Okay, so you got to maneuver it, slide it up and down, and you'll know it's in when you could see the bolt holes line up. So we've got provisions for the factory radio's bolt pattern. We've got provisions in the amplifier bracket for these holes. So now we've got now you got to pick up some 1/4-20 bolts, and you thread the bolts in through the side panel. We'll get this harness out of the way, kind of free up a little bit more space, and we can thread the 1/4-20 bolt into the welded nut on the amp bracket. We can go ahead and tighten those down. You'll need 4 1/4-20 thread bolts. Ones I'm using are 3/4 inch long. You can probably get away with 1/2 inch. So once we have that in, we can take the radio, mount it back into place, bolt the radio in, and wire up our amplifier. And with our BC-9715, that's going to go really quick. Everything will plug and play, give us a lot of installation options. So now we're going to take you to the center of the bike underneath the seat, and we're going to show you some of the options that we have back there for harnessing. So our BC-9720, the 4-pin plug, this is where it ends up. So we ran it down from the front of the fairing, underneath the gas tank, through the plastic channeling that the OE wires fit in. It's a little tight. I recommend removing the gas tank definitely, but all in all, you can get it through. One of the next harnesses that we have is a BC-9721, and you can obviously see what this is, right? This is a splitter. So this plug plugs right into the BC-9720 or the factory Harley backbone harness that might have been in this bike had it had rear speakers. And what this is going to do, this is going to allow you to split off that signal from that amplifier up front. And we've got a couple different options that are available to use or to fill up these 3 pigtails. First one I'm going to talk about is the BC-9727. Now, this harness is for motorcycles with tour packs. If this had a tour pack, the tour pack would be right about here. And we do, in the Saddle Tramp line, sell tour pack lids for 6x9s for 96 to 13 and then 14 and up. This one would obviously be a 14 and up. So we developed a harness that's going to get you that audio, the wiring, the signal to those speakers. So we're going to we would plug this right in. Again, everything kind of plugs into each other. You would basically take this up and bring it into your tour pack on the side. And what we've got is an overmolded grommet here, so that you pop a hole in your tour pack, feed this through. Obviously it snaps in with the grommet, making a watertight seal. And then you have enough length to open that tour pack lid and not put any kind of strain on these wires. So obviously you have shorter one for the left side, but a longer one for the right side when the tour pack is lifted. So that's a really handy harness. It'll get you that audio in there really quick and really easy. Next harness we have is a BC-9723. And what this harness is a saddlebag harness for the speakers. So you got a pair of saddlebag speakers, you got maybe some of our 6x9 bag lids or dual 6x9 bag lids. Again, makes it real easy. Plug it into that bypass. You have your heat shrunk labels. One that says the brake side, which would be this side of the bike. The other one says the clutch side, this side of the bike. So one of the other things that comes in this kit is a grommet. It's a flexible grommet, so you can pop a hole in your saddlebag and make sure that you have that kind of watertight connection. So you can go around the outside of the plug, throw some tape on it, and now you can feed your audio directly into your saddlebag lid. You need to disconnect it, make a quick disconnect. You can unplug it depending on where you put the grommet. Maybe the grommet comes out with it. So the reason why we have the plug in the grommet is to make it as easy as possible, as flexible as possible. We know that you guys are going to be taking these bag lids on and off to clean your bike, maybe to have a different look, but we want to make it easy. So you just unplug it, take the bag lid with the speakers, and you're ready to go. One of the things that we put a lot of focus on this year was, again, cutting down on installation time, cutting down on guessing what wires do what, having to look through Harley-Davidson service to figure out your wiring schematics and everything else like that. We've done all that work for you. One of the other harnesses that we've got is our BC-9726. And this is for motorcycles that have factory amplifiers, the boom system, right? There's single amp, dual amp, 3 amp, and 4 amp systems. Bypassing those so you can add in your own aftermarket amplifiers is obviously a pain, kind of like it is for cars. So we went ahead and we created some amp bypass harnesses for you. Within the BC-9726, we've got a bypass for the front amplifier, which is located under the front fairing. Again, just like our BC-9715, comes with an unpinned Molex so that you can add it in to your aftermarket amplifier. So this is actually the output of from your amplifier. So I can go right to your amp. Next one is rear amplifier bypass. You've got 2 of those. Rear amplifier bypasses. We got the speaker wires already looped through. And then we have a right saddlebag or right amplifier bypass. This one's also very convenient. Then we also decided to include some saddlebag. If you're doing the amp bypass plugs for the 9726, BC-9726, that means you're going to have saddlebag speakers. We went ahead and we added in some harnessing for you to get you that speaker level output, just the pre-terminated wires there. So this is for 14 and up motorcycles, but it's also for the 11 to 13 CVO, Street Glide, and Road Glide. So speaker connections for your saddlebags. All that's included in the BC-9726. So as you can see, we've put a lot of focus in Harley-Davidson this year. The wiring harnesses that we've developed make it easy plug-and-play solutions for you, the installer, or the do-it-yourselfer. If you'd like more information on where to find the harnesses and the other components that we have available for Harley-Davidson, you can visit metraonline.com, or you can see us on Instagram or Facebook. We appreciate the time, and we'll see you guys soon.